social media the way it sort of allows you to reach your fans in a much more immediate way. So people can now go and vote for a doodle. Maybe that's already done. Oh, of course, yeah. And that, of course, does speak to one of my favorite characters, no doubt everybody's favorite character in Bloodline, which is Kane, the dog who goes along with his handler, Captain Tucker Wayne. And I think it's the first time you've had a sort of a militarized military dog in a story. So talk about that a little bit, because it was very interesting following his exploits. This particular novel, and as I said in the opening, it is part of your Sigma Force thriller series. So talk about that first before we talk about Bloodline. What is a Sigma Force thriller per se? You open this novel by sort of taking us way back in history. What is the connection with Galilee in 1025 with what happens later on in the 21st century? You have to really sort of pay attention when you're reading the novel because you have a lot of lines going through it. So we mentioned the search for immortality and then, of course, the piracy that we're all very familiar with in terms of its place in the news way too much out there in Somalia and those sobering thought, isn't it? And in the same way, actually, that you talk in this book about kind of the search for immortality, which is a lot of what the bad guys are all about. They want to sort of preserve themselves. And of course, the power that is embodied by this secretive family that rotates in the middle of the novel. But how far are we scientifically down that road in terms of being able to keep somebody alive sort of forever? That's kind of a terrifying and sobering thought. But James, I'm curious as to your typical readers, because you have some really strong male characters, very strong female characters. So it would strike me that you probably are pulling readers from both men and women. Would that be correct? I can certainly attest to that fact. You've got great characters, it's a great storyline, and you learn something very thought-provoking. So, James, just quickly, what is your website? Okay, all right. And is there a new novel in the works as we speak? James, we will look forward to having you back on Heartbeat when the next book comes out. So in the meantime, James Rollins has been my guest.